Well, hello again and welcome to the Sports Box, where the only opinion that matters is right here. I am Mike Eckel, a.k.a. Hampton Mike, along with my partner Brian, the Ranger Retard, bringing you another great special that you're just going to love for days, weeks, months, years, however you want to say it. Today we have, I think, a great show today. Because today we're bringing on the show, and actually he decided to come on the show, which is great. I love to have him on. He is the author of the book, The Big 50, The Many Moments That Made the Philadelphia Eagles. He is also one of the many beat writers for NJ.com who covers the Eagles. He is Mark Eckel. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nope, not a problem. Thanks for coming on. So, Mark, we got some questions about the Eagles, just like the Delaware Valley has some questions about the Eagles. I guess the first one I'll bring up is, let's talk about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz's production has dipped a little bit, and I don't want to say he's gone tremendously backwards, but it looks like he's kind of regressing a little bit. I mean, what are your thoughts about Carson right now?
He hit the bar way too high. I mean, his first month, 3 of his first 4 games, his quarterback rating was over 100. That's ridiculous for a rookie quarterback to put up those kind of numbers, especially when you consider that he barely played in the preseason. He only played a half, barely a half against Tampa Bay in that first preseason game before he got hurt. So, I mean, this Eagle team that we're seeing now is the Eagle team that I expected to see from the beginning. They got off to the 3-0 start, and people's expectations got out of hand, thinking that this was going to be a, who knows what people thought. I know what I thought. But, Wentz is fine. He's a rookie quarterback. I mean, what impressed me the most about him early was he didn't make any mistakes. And I was dumbfounded by that, because I've seen a lot of quarterbacks in all my years covering the team, and even veteran quarterbacks make mistakes. This kid wasn't making any. I mean, even if he threw an incomplete pass, it wasn't okay. He just maybe a little bit off, or there was no where I told him, God, what's he throwing it there for? Look at that for another jump. No, there was none of that for like a month, and I was like, wow, this isn't real. And now we're seeing him. He makes mistakes. He's playing like a rookie quarterback's supposed to play, really.
Right.
He visually reminds me so much of Alex Smith when I see him play, and I don't know if that's just the coaching or just who he is as a player, but an interesting stat that I saw was that since November 10th, there have been 127 pass plays league-wide of 27 yards or more, and the Eagles have none of them. Is that kind of Pederson's doing with the play calling, or do they just not trust Wentz to throw downfield, or is it a third option, the fact that their receivers are having trouble catching the ball?
Mark, are you there? Oh, no, I think we lost Mark.
Did we lose Mark?
Mark, are you on the line? Ah, we lost Mark.
Let's see if we can get him back.
Yeah, let's try Mark here.
Technology these days, guys. That's just...
Yep, and there he
giving
is.
you a call right back.
There he is. Mark, you there?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, someone...
That's okay. That's okay. No problem. Brian will pick the question.
Yeah, so as I was mentioning, when I see Carson Wentz play, he really just reminds me so much of Alex Smith, and I'm not really sure if that's the coaching or just who he is as a player. But
is that a compliment?
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure, and that's the thing. But he just seems.
I'm not a big Alex. I think he has a much stronger arm than Alex Smith.
Well, here's the thing about that, though, because since November 10th, an interesting stat that I saw was there have been 127 plays league-wide through the air of 27 yards or more, and the Eagles don't have any of them. So is it Pederson's doing with the play calling, or do they just not, even though he has the arm, do they just not trust him to throw downfield, or is it possibly also their receivers can't seem to catch a cold these days?
Yeah, this is the worst group of wide receivers maybe in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all they have. Who do you have? You have Jordan Matthews, who is a good, solid, possession-type slot receiver.
Yep.
He's very good at what he does. He's not a game breaker. He's not a number one if he is their number one, but that tells you that how bad their receivers are. I mean, there's no Odell Beckham on this team. There's no Des Bryant. There's no Jordy Nelson. There's no Julio Jones. AJ. We can go on and on. I mean, you could argue that the Giants' top 3 receivers are better than all the Eagles receivers.
Yeah, and I think that goes hand in hand with Carson Wentz's development. You look at who he has around him, the running attack. You know, I think Smallwood's going to be a good running back for them into the future. But right now you have Ryan Matthews, who can't stay on the field, and Sproles, who's not the lead back, who's a nice complementary back. I mean, I think that goes hand in hand with, like you said, the wide receivers you're awful. You know, you bench Aguilar to, I don't know, to teach him a lesson, I guess, or to try to get his head straight, and then you bring Paul Turner in, who doesn't get a catch. I mean, I don't know where the direction of the wide receiver and the running backs you go right now with anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to, you know, add some, obviously, during the offseason. They can't bring this group back and expect to be any better than they are now. I mean, you know, I'm still not sure why. You know, like you said, they benched Aguilar to do what? To teach him. I mean, okay, now he's going to come back and be Kerry Rice.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, he is what he is. I mean, either, you know, I don't know. That was the whole thing was kind of goofy.
Yeah, I mean, with that too, Mark.
He's certainly not playing as well as a lot of us thought he would.
Right.
And I don't know why. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons that go into it. I thought that. I'll be honest. I thought that was a good pick when they made it. I thought he was going to be a pretty good player, a very good player. Actually, I thought, you know, maybe it's something like those USC wide receivers. A lot of them never panned out.
Well, you had Keyshawn Johnson, but that's going a little far back.
You had Lynn Swan too.
Yeah. I mean, Aguilar, like you said, I thought was an okay pick for them. It's just that I guess you're going to see the real coaching now, because where do you go with them now? You just benched them in the sense that, like you said, okay, well, you're not catching the ball, you got to sit down a little bit. But they didn't put anybody in front of them to say, okay, well, this guy might take your job. It was more like, okay, he sat down, now he'll play against the Bengals, and maybe he drops a couple more balls. What do? You bench him again? It's right. Like, where do you go with it? I don't know.
Was he? I mean, Pederson never told us why he was inactive. I mean, was he inactive because of the drop, or was he inactive because he lined up wrong?
Right. Yeah. Right.
I mean, I'm guessing it was more of the lining up wrong than it was the drop. I mean,
sure.
I mean, Jordan Matthews leads the team in drops.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I mean, I'm not ripping Jordan. I'm just saying he has more drops than Aguilar. So I don't think it was the drop so much as it was the not being on the line. And apparently, that they were even yelling to him at the time to move up, and he didn't. So I think it was more that maybe. Plus, I think in the game, they may have done him a favor. Maybe they figured let him play a road game instead of a home game where the fans aren't going to, like the Bengal fans aren't going to do him. They don't really care about him.
Yeah.
And then if he does play well, when they come back home, maybe, people will ease up on him a bit. But I just thought against Green Bay secondary is bad. I mean, they're missing a lot of people back there.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a good night to let him play and maybe get him involved early, and maybe he has a good night. Maybe against lesser quarterbacks, he could have had one of his better nights.
Or even let Carson throw the ball downfield.
Yeah.
We talked about that before.
And the thing about Aguilar that I think the fan base is never going to let go of is I think he's going to be like the Chip Kelly guy, because Chip was the one that led to that pick, and I think that's going to be a stigma that he may not be able to break. But you bring up Pederson. Mark, what are your thoughts of him as a coach from what you've seen so far? I mean, the 2-yard challenge is something that the fans have just been going nuts over for a couple of days. I mean, it kind of, you didn't really understand what he was doing at the time, and he, I think, came out recently and said, yeah, I wish I got that one back. Is he feeling the pressure of a 3-0 start followed by 6 out of 8 losses? Is he feeling that, or what's just your read on him?
I think a little bit. He says the wrong. I mean, he's not the worst coach I've ever been around. He's certainly not the best, but he's a rookie too, and the Eagles knew that when they hired him, that he had his only previous head coaching experience was on the high school level, in at Calvary Baptist High School. So I mean that was his only previous head coaching. He was a quarterback coach for Andy Reid here with the Eagles, and then Andy took him to Kansas City, gave him the title coordinator, but let's be honest. I mean, how much do you really think he had to do with Kansas City's offense?
Yeah, I don't think he plays. Yeah.
And Childress was there as well. And, he didn't call plays or anything. I think he's done okay for the most part in terms of like his schemes and, game planning. and all that. I don't have much problem with that. Even his play calling, I thought top of my head, the only, like, some of the play calling, I think he gets, and this is from Andy, he learned from Andy, I think he abandons the running game a little quicker than I would.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm not a coach, but I'm just saying, and if I have a criticism of his play calling, it's that I think the Eagles are at their best. And I actually wrote a story about this like a week or so ago, that if you look at their numbers, when they're more balanced, they perform much better. When Wentz is throwing 40 times, or if their run pass ratio is a little bit out of whack, like 2-to-1 or so, that's when they're in trouble. And again, I can understand when you fall behind by a lot. Okay, we have to throw. We're not going to run the ball. But they were never behind. I mean, until the end, they weren't behind by more than. Well, they were never more than 2 scores down.
Right.
And for most of the game, it was like a 4-point game. It was 14-10 at halftime. Then it was 17-10. So there's still only a touchdown down. 17-13. I mean, they were in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like they were getting blown out. And my only, and I'll give him in his defense, as I had said earlier, Green Bay secondary has been banged up. They've been giving up tons of passes. Mariota lit them up.
Yep.
Cousins lit them up. So and that's in his mind too. That he watched some of those games. He saw what Tennessee and Washington did against him, saying, "Hey, this is how you attack this team.
Yeah.
You don't run on them. You throw on them." Now Green Bay actually played a lot better Monday night than they had in the previous two weeks. So there's that too. But overall, for Pederson, he sometimes stumbles over not even difficult questions, and then talks himself into a corner sometimes. And then like the whole Aguilar thing, I don't think he handled that real well.
No.
The Josh Huff thing a couple of weeks ago, when Huff gets arrested on a Tuesday. We talked to Pederson on a Wednesday, and he comes out and tells us, I'm going to,
give him a big
I'm
hug.
going to show him some love.
Yeah.
We're going to hug. I like this kid. Blah, blah. He goes on and on, basically saying, I got this kid. We're going to talk. We're going to work this out. And I asked the question point blank to him: Is he going to play Sunday against the Giants? And Doug said absolutely, or whatever he was. I'm paraphrasing, but he made it clear, yes, he's going to play.
Yeah.
Next day, the Eagles come.
Yeah, that's got to be some pressure from above, saying we got to get rid of this guy. So he knew that. So.
But again, he shouldn't have said all that. He should have said, "We don't know yet. We're still talking about." Sometimes he's too open, and I hate saying this. I know what Andy thought.
Right.
He never said nothing.
Right.
Yeah. He also.
But he's very open. It's almost like he talks to us like he wants us, like he's talking to his friends. We're not, Doug, we're not your friends. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not his friend. I don't want to be his friend. I'm there to run it. I mean, I'm there to get stories. I'm not.
Sure.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think
you tell me stuff, I'm going to write it.
Yeah.
We're not just having a nice little conversation here.
He also didn't handle the situation of the 30 seconds left in the Dallas game with 3 timeouts, and he kind of liked to sit on the ball.
The Dallas game, that was his worst.
Yeah.
That was his worst.
Yeah, he really fumbled over that.
The whole not. I didn't kill him for not kicking the field goal. No. I think I would have.
Yeah, I killed him.
And the reason I didn't kill him is, if he missed it, if Sturgis misses that, it would have been a 50-something yarder. Right. If he misses that, and Dallas gets the ball close to midfield, people would have killed him for doing that.
Sure.
And the punt work, they got him to the 9-yard line or whatever it was.
Right.
It was up to his defense there to not let a rookie quarterback go 90 yards for the touchdown.
Right.
And so I didn't really kill him for that part. I did, but the timeouts, he misused his timeouts in that game. And then there was something else that he did in that game that I thought was kind of bad too. In fact, off the top of my mind now, I don't remember. But I didn't mind the field goal much as everybody else did. Really, I mean, I again, me personally, I think I would have, but I could see why he didn't. And the punt did work. I mean,
yeah,
he did cut him out of bounds at the 9 or whatever it was.
You know, I think the most positive thing about the Eagles right now is the fact that the Minnesota Vikings seem to be falling off the train in a really, really big way. And that first-round pick that they stole for Sam Bradford keeps going up and up and up. And I know that there's football to be played here, but, you know, assuming that the Green Bay game may have been a nail in the coffin as far as the playoffs go this year, they do have a lot of needs. And you know, we talk about wide receiver a lot. I personally don't think they go back to the well for a wide receiver, having just drafted Aguilar recently in the round. Where do you think they take that gift of a first-round pick that Santa Minnesota Vikings clause let them have?
Well, you have to see who's there. I mean, the bad picks Eagles have made through the years have come from just what you're saying. What we have to take a wide receiver. We have to take a defensive lineman. We have to take an offensive lineman. And then they take one, despite the fact that there were 5 better players on the board still. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You can't pigeonhole yourself into that we're taking X, because X might be an okay guy at that point. And like maybe, let's just say, like, I think their biggest need is a quarterback, to be honest with you.
I agree.
So, but I'm not going to take one. If 4 quarterbacks go, let's say the Eagles are picking, if the season ended now, I think their pick would be 18. Mm-hmm. I think the Vikings would have the 18. So let's just say it stays at 18. So if they're picking 18, and 4 quarterbacks go off the board in their first 17 picks, I don't think I'm taking the 5th best quarterback.
Yeah.
If I can get the best something else.
Exactly.
If there's a good offensive lineman, if an offensive lineman there is there that I have ranked very highly, I'm taking him. Yeah. Or like you said, I don't want, and I agree. I wouldn't want to go wide receiver maybe either, but let's say no wide receiver goes. Mm-hmm. And you can get the best wide receiver at 18 versus the 5th best quarterback. I think you got to think about that, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And I'll bring up another point to you. Besides the offense having their struggles, and we talk about the defense, this front four, not that he was a big threat before, but what happened to Connor Barwin? You talk about, I'll tell you about the Connor Barwin. Let's start there. Okay.
He's a 3-4 linebacker. He's not a 4-3 defensive end.
So he's not in the right scheme.
He was the one guy, in my opinion, he was the one guy on that defense that I thought the change from a 3-4 to a 4-3 didn't benefit. Right. Because he really is a stand-up 3-4 linebacker. That's what he's been his whole career. In Houston, that's what he was, and when the Eagles signed him, that's why they signed him, because they were going to a 3-4, and they thought they needed someone that that could play outside backer in a 3-4. He's really not that. I mean, he won't say it, but he's really a 3-4 linebacker trying to play 4-3 defensive end. Yeah. And again, he's not the worst. I mean, there's other problems besides Connor Barwin.
No, I understand. Like, you talk about Vinny Curry knocking down car payments, but still not knocking down any quarterbacks. And then you got Brandon Graham, who's doing well. He's having a good year. I never thought I'd say that, but Brandon Graham is actually playing well. But
he's having his best year. Let's not put him in the Hall of Fame like some people are.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. And Nigel Bradham, nowhere to be found. I mean, some of these guys.
Oh no! Wait a minute, guys. I had the stat. In 11 games, tight ends have caught like 24 passes for like 220 yards.
Okay.
Who covers the tight end?
The linebacker.
Nigel Bradham.
Yep.
Nigel Bradham covers tight end.
Okay.
He's taken every tight end out of it. The only tight end that even had a decent game this year against him was Vernon Davis in Washington, who had like 4 catches for 60 yards or something. Okay. He's done a good job taking the tight end out of the mix this year. And that's his job as a strong side linebacker. That's what you do. You covers the tight end. It's Michael Kendricks who's been invisible.
That was my next point, Michael Kendricks. Yeah, he haven't had her boo out of him. Plus the cornerbacks, like you had said before.
The cornerbacks are awful.
The cornerbacks are awful. I mean, on that one play where
Nolan Carroll's okay.
Yeah.
He's okay.
Yeah, but when you got
Jordan Matthews of the offense.
Yeah.
He's
is that
okay,
a compliment?
But he can't be your number one. He's not. He's not supposed to be number one.
Right, and when you got when Rodgers throws a pass to Adams in the end zone, Jalen Mills hasn't even turned around looking for the ball yet. It's like, it's just
Mills is 7th round pick. He's a rookie. Yeah. He's just the fact that he's playing as a 7th round pick says something. I guess good and bad. Good for him, but bad that your 7th round pick is better than guys that he shouldn't be better than. Yeah, I think corner, in a perfect world, there'll be a decent corner on the board when the Eagles go to draft wherever that pick lands.
Yeah. So I guess
it's a pretty good corner draft from what I'm told.
So I guess, Mark, we'll leave you with this. Where do you see the Eagles going now? I mean, it doesn't look like they're headed for the playoffs at all. Do you just see them? Yeah. Do you just see them trying to, open up Carson a little bit, see what he can do, or just kind of staying where they are and just try to win as many games as they can?
Yeah, they're not trying to win games. I mean, but this team isn't very good, guys. I mean, we just went over all the flaws. It's hard in my opinion. I'm surprised they won some of the games they did.
Yeah.
The first. Here's what happened. They played the Bears and the Browns and the Bears.
Yeah, right. Games are supposed to win.
Right.
Yes.
So the schedule maker he kind of did them a favor in the sense that they got up, but in the grand scheme of things, he didn't do them a favor. Because, like I said, just like Wentz's expectations went off the charts.
Exactly.
When he had that great first month.
Yeah.
So did the teams. I mean, and then that Steelers game was just, I don't know what that was.
Yeah, the Steelers never showed up for that game.
And guess what? They're not nearly as good as everybody thought they were.
Right, not at all.
Everybody thought the Steelers were a potential Super Bowl team. I'm not even sure if they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if they would have opened with Seattle and Green Bay instead of Bears Browns, they would have been 0-2.
Right.
Everybody would have said, well, this is what I thought. They're rebuilding. They're young. They're rookie quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And then they play the Bears and Browns in the middle of the year, and they go from 5 and 6. They go from 3 and 6 to 5 and 6. People say, "Hey, we won 2 in a row. We're getting back into this."
They're improving. Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yep, I agree.
It's a lot of times you have to look at how the schedule falls. I mean, and who you play when means a lot.
It's true.
So I guess my last question for you, Mark, is, I think we're all in agreement here that the Eagles will not win the Super Bowl this year. So if you had to make a prediction on who you think will go to the Super Bowl this year and maybe even win it, who do you see coming out of both conferences at this point?
I'll be shocked. I'll be very surprised if it's not Dallas.
Really?
Yeah, Dallas looks good this year. They look like the team to beat this year. I agree.
Well, I don't see Seattle going into Dallas playing.
Okay.
I mean, if Dallas had to go to Seattle, I don't know. Maybe Seattle might beat them. But Seattle's a bad road team. I mean, they're not even. They scored 5 points in Tampa. They scored 6 in Arizona. They just don't play very. They don't play very well on the road. And it looks like that game. So as long as Dallas holds on the home field, and what they have a 2.5 game lead now.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good point too. They struggled against Miami at home and lost to the Rams. I mean, they've been all over the planet this year, Seattle. So I agree with that. I don't know where Seattle's going.
I certainly don't see. I don't see the Falcons beating Dallas in Dallas.
Yeah.
And probably Dallas is probably. This is crazy to say, but Dallas is the teams that Dallas are most worried about are probably the Giants and the Redskins.
Yeah.
2 teams that know them so well.
You're probably right.
Yeah, and you got Detroit leading the North, which is unbelievable. So
it's
with the NFL.
Yeah, I don't see it unless if the Packers get healthy and get hot, they're the one team that could be a little scary because they still have Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
And that's if I'm another team, that's one guy I'd probably rather not have to be.
Now I'll ask you one more thing, Mark. Do you think that the hottest team right now in the league, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, do you think they have a shot to sneak in?
The Bucs, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They just beat Seattle and Kansas City back to back. That's 2 very impressive wins.
In Kansas City, they beat them too, which is a tough place to play.
I think that last spot. I'm assuming the Giants are going to hold on and get to one of the wild card spots. They're 8-3, but even though the Giants' schedule does toughen up here near the end.
Right.
I don't think they're going to fall apart that badly. I think they'll find a way to win enough to get in.
Right.
But that second wild card spot, it looks like the Redskins have it right now, but Tampa's only a half game behind them.
Yeah.
And Tampa, I think Tampa's tiebreakers are pretty good.
Yeah.
Although they wouldn't tie the Redskins since the Redskins have that tie. But I would think it comes down to those 2 teams. The Cardinals look pretty much dead now.
Yeah. Carson Palmer's catching up to them. So
time.
Yeah, I think they got old. Cardinals got old. The Vikings, like you said, I don't know. I mean, is Adrian Peterson coming back? I read something that he was jogging on the sidelines today or something.
Well, they're going to need him because their offense stinks right now.
Get your back. That would make a big difference. Again, as soon as he comes back and he's Adrian Peterson. I mean, I mean, I know he did it the one year when he missed an entire year and he came back and ran for 2,000 yards. But I mean, that's asking a lot for a guy to miss whatever many weeks he's going to miss, and then come back and be the guy that he was. But that offense needs something. And, maybe even a hand to Adrian Pederson would have helped them. But I would think, I mean, if you're asking me to put it in my head, I would say Redskins slightly over Tampa Bay. But yeah, Tampa Bay certainly has it. Tampa Bay is going to be ready to mix, without a doubt.
Right.
I wouldn't be stunned if they caught, I mean, I should say, I'd be surprised, but not like wow surprised, if they called Atlanta to win that division. They're only a game behind, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody beating New England?
I'm not big on Atlanta. I think they're okay. I don't think Atlanta's like a world beater.
Do you think anybody beats New England? Or is it just
No.
That's fair.
Brady's on a mission. I agree.
That's all you have to say. There's not a lot of detail there.
The NFL did the worst thing that
they pissed off their best quarterback. Exactly. I agree with that.
Nobody's beating New England. No.
Yeah.
I mean, no. Oakland is a nice team. They're young. It's nice to see the Raiders being good again. I think it's good for the league when the Raiders are good, but they're not ready to beat New England. Kansas City certainly can't beat New England. No, I don't see anybody beating New England in the AFC. I think I don't even know who would come close.
Okay.
Well, that's all the time we have for the Sports Box today. I want to thank Mark Eckel for coming on, one of the guys who covers the Eagles for NJ.com. Mark, thank you. And your book, the Big 50, the many moments that made the Philadelphia Eagles. Mark, why don't you tell everybody where you're going to be and a couple book signings coming up?
Sure, I got a bunch of them, but the book's available. If you're not in the Philadelphia area or if you're in the New Jersey area, you can get it online at either Amazon.com or TriumphBooks.com. If you are in the area, I'll be tomorrow night. I'll be in New Jersey in Hamilton Township at JoJo's Tavern from 7 o'clock for a couple hours, signing books there. Then look, the next couple weeks I'll be at some Barnes and Nobles. The book is available in Barnes and Nobles in the area as well. So I'm pretty happy with it. I thought it came out pretty well. It's a lot of good stories about things you probably don't know about the Eagles.
Good stuff.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to getting the book, Mark. I'm looking forward to catching up to you in the book signing, like I told you I would.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming on, Mark. We appreciate it. And that's Sports Box. That's all the time we have. Keep an eye out. We got some good stuff coming.
And especially, you can find us on Twitter at SportsBox Show. We're on YouTube. And, of course, for those of you who don't know, my compadre here, Mr. Mike Galletta, made an attempt to kick a 45-yard field goal at the ripe old age of 45. And that video is exclusive to those who like us on Facebook. So make sure you find the Sports Box on Facebook. Make sure you're checking that video out. It's something you need to see. I'll put it to you that way. I'm not going to give you any hints.
It's memorable.
It will leave an impression on you. I'll put it that way.
Correct. Thanks for watching the Sports Box again. We thank Mark Eckel for coming on. Remember, at the Sports Box, the only opinion that matters. Still right here. Thanks for watching, folks. See you.
Don't forget to subscribe.